everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am so incredibly excited to have you here today because, well, we are about to embark on an absolutely epic 15,000-year journey. We're going to trace the fascinating story of human survival, shifting from our earliest days of hunting and gathering all the way to the modern, everyday marvel of the fast food drive-thru. It's a story of subtle shifts, massive environmental transformations, and literally millions of tiny choices that built the reality you and I live in today. 490. That is the exact number of calories packed into a standard, modern, fast food double cheeseburger. It's a relatively cheap meal, it's incredibly accessible, and it is utterly abundant in our modern world. But, it begs a massive historical question. How on earth did we reach a world of such bizarre, cheap abundance? How did we get to a point where a dense, calorie-packed meal is just handed to us through a car window for pocket change? Okay, let's dive into this. Because the incredibly complex global system required to produce just this one single sandwich is staggering. You can't just make a cheeseburger. It's like a giant puzzle. First, you have to feed and raise cows. Then you have to process the meat, freeze it, and transport it, often across massive distances. Simultaneously, somewhere else entirely, farmers are growing wheat, which is then heavily refined to make soft buns. In yet another facility, cow's milk is being processed into cheese. And we haven't even touched upon the agriculture required to grow cucumbers for pickling or tomatoes for ketchup. The sheer scale of coordination here is just mind-boggling. To really understand how wild this whole shebang is, we need to jump back to our baseline, 15,000 years ago. For the vast, vast majority of human history up until this point, absolutely all humans were simply hunters and gatherers. That was the only way to survive. You foraged for wild fruits, nuts, grains, grasses, and hey, if you were lucky, you hunted down some protein. There was no complex supply chain. You ate exactly what was immediately available in your physical environment. Now, the archaeological reality actually shatters our modern assumptions here. We tend to think of early foragers as living miserable lives, right? The old saying, nasty, brutish, short, and constantly on the brink of starvation. But the fossil evidence actually shows that early hunter-gatherers had healthier bones and teeth than the farmers who came later. And anthropologists have noted that they actually worked significantly fewer hours to secure their food than we do today. That left them with plenty of leisure time for art,